What's good? What's good? What's good, YouTube? Man, I feel like this year has been a real blessing. I've been able to connect with some people that I've been wanting to connect with for a long time. Today, we have Broadus Palmer, the founder of Level Up in Tech. If you've seen the hashtag Level Up in Tech, if you are on LinkedIn, there's no way you can miss this guy because he's a top voice on LinkedIn from 2020. He was featured in Business Insider, Entrepreneur. He's all about the cloud. He gives you his phone number so you can text him and holler at him so he can help you do the same thing. I got the one and only Mr. Broadus Palmer. My man, what's good?
What's good, bro? Thank you so much, man, for having me on the show, man. And what's up to everybody that's out there? I appreciate you giving me the time to share some value with you today.
Yes, sir. Thanks, man. Thank you. I just want to make sure the stream is good. If everyone is tuning in, if you can let me know the stream is working for you and you can hear us, let me know in the chat real quick because I'm not seeing it on my end before we get started. And if you all could share this out on your social media, I would appreciate that as well. Okay, they can hear us. Cool. Appreciate y'all. Hey, do me a favor, everybody that's in the chat. My man Aaron, Mr. Mastermind, what's popping, family? Do me a favor.
Hello,
yes, sir. Everybody that's in the chat, let me know your area code so I can see where y'all representing. But Broadus, man, how you doing on this Sunday?
Man, we cold out here, bro. Like it's literally like 9 inches of snow out here, man. So I've been playing with the kids all day, getting wet, tired as a mug. But hey, that's what it is, though. We haven't had snow all winter, so we surprised us.
Hey, I love snow. You know, I'm from Ohio, so when that snow comes down, I feel like I'm right at home, no matter where I'm at.
Nah, you can keep it, yo. You can have it. We bring it to you all day long.
That's what's up. Yo, all right. So let's get this started. How long ago were you a banker?
About 3 years ago, man. I was a banker.
Wow.
Living the dream, bro. You know what I'm saying? Trying to hustle and bustle and try to make it to that management role, that branch manager. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the time I was just like, yo, if I could just make branch manager, you know what I'm saying, I'd definitely be able to do something greater. But God had other plans for me, ideas that I never even thought I would have. My upbringing, I mean, we knew about the tech industry, but me getting into tech, bro, like, nah, man. You know what I'm saying? You ask some people I came up with, they be like, hey, I ain't think he's going to make it. And I don't even mean by like, life or death, but even just a person who striving to do something with their life. Use the gifts that God gave me, So, yeah, man, it's been 3 quick years I've been in the industry so far. And I'm just loving every minute of it, brother. Seriously.
3 years ago, you was a banker, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because to go from a non-technical background to becoming someone that's influencing others to get in one of the, I would say, top industries right now, which is the cloud. That's a blessing. That's inspiring.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I mean, it was just more about, to be honest with you, when I started doing it, when I got into the industry and I started trying to influence others to do the same thing, it was more about just sharing a message of connecting with people that was just like me. Because I was coming in, I was like, man, I just did this. Like, I literally just changed my life. So I know there's other people. People need to understand, like, they need to know about this industry. You know what I mean? People that look like me, come from where I come from. We need to know about the life-changing opportunities in tech.
Right.
We see tech, we know there's a tech industry, no doubt. But to see, hey, you can make 6 figures and you can do it from home right now. Some people don't even believe that.
Man. Yeah.
And that's what it is. So I wanted to share my story, just share how I did it and just connect with people. Just it wasn't even about the learning the technology, right? It was more about the hustle and grit of it, right? Just belief, because this game. If you guys are listening and you want to transition, or even if you're in the industry right now and you want to come over to cloud, anyone can learn the technology. It's the mental game that you got to play when you're learning it, because you're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be introduced, if you haven't already, to imposter syndrome. So you're gonna feel like you want to quit. But having good networks, or having a good network and having a good mentor or coach or person that you can rely on, that can really help you and give you advice in the time of need, is the meat and potatoes of moving and transitioning. That's what I would say.
Yeah, this industry is it can be a beast, because even when you got the technology figured out, it's the business side, it's the interpersonal side. You know what I mean? It's the I know this stuff, but I'm walking in and nobody wants to hear what I gotta say side, and being confident enough to still speak anyway, being confident enough to walk into work every day and still perform even when they doubting you, even when you're not getting your credit. You know what I mean? There's so much to this industry, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because at the end of the day, you got to have that confidence of, you know what you know and you have value to bring.
Yep.
If you don't speak up, I mean, because that's what gets the attention. You got to speak up and talk about what you know. If not, the opportunity is going to pass you by, right? And that goes for any industry, no matter what. If you want a promotion, the easiest way to get that promotion is to already be doing that job. That's called easy transition. So if you want to be a tech lead or manager or whatever the case, just start speaking up, bring your value to the table, doing things, staying on top of trends. Where you see the problems that this company is solving, right? Get creative in finding some solutions for that and bringing it to the table. Let them know that you're here, because if they don't see the value, you got to treat it like my friend Kanika Toba said. You got to treat jobs like you got to date them. You can't marry them.
Man.
So if they not treating you right, if you, as a man or as a woman, if you're going on a date and you sitting across with someone and you speaking and talking and they're not valuing what you're saying, they're looking at you like, yeah, all right, I don't care about what you're talking about.
Right.
Will you even give that person the time of day to go on another date? Would you say, I'm way too valuable to be messing with somebody like this who doesn't value me? Because if that person doesn't value me, somebody else is going to value me. That's how you got to look at companies.
That's some real talk. Now, when we talk about value, you really got to put your ego aside and be able to really assess your true worth. Right. Now, if somebody's, I would say, degrading you, or if they're just disregarding you, then of course, like you shouldn't take that. But if you feel like, okay, I just got this certification and now they need to listen to what I say, like at some point you still got to prove yourself. What do you think about that?
I think in this industry, I mean, sometimes you got to look at it like, okay, if they're not paying attention to me, or if I feel like I'm not getting the traction I feel I deserve, right? You got to seek first to understand, right? Yeah. Ask questions around that, right? See what, talk to your manager or talk to whoever and just see what the roadmap looks like for you, first of all, yeah. Right? Like, where you guys see me going? Like, what are your plans for me? That'll help you assess and get the right answers if, for lack of a better word, they're trying to play you or not. Yeah. They keeping you in this role just because it's great for them and not really worried about your growth. So then you can make the right assessment if you need to move on, form and look for another relationship, or form a better relationship with yourself, right? Become a business owner and show your value that way. I mean, it's all about how you look at it. I was one of the people when I came in, I had ideas. I was from my angle, I was popping on LinkedIn a little bit, right? So I was coming in like, look, it's ideas, and I'm thinking, what I mean? They weren't paying attention. Yeah. and I was brand new, right? So, but still, I had that feeling like, oh man, like they're not valuing what I'm talking about. They're not valuing my ideas. But I had to seek first to understanding, like, hey, I'm new. I can't come in the game thinking I'm big boy and I could just say whatever and people gonna listen.
Right.
I gotta show value first in my actions
Yep.
and let them see what I'm doing. And then if they see and they really value what I'm doing, they can allow me to do more. If not, I will actually see their actions and then make the assessment. Okay, well, I'll talk to them. I see where their vision is for me. That's not where I'm trying to go. So I'm not really good. I'm not in a position to try to prove myself over here where I can go somewhere else that's really going to help me grow to where I want. And I feel, prove myself there.
Man, that's real talk. I mean, I look at many situations in my career. The most important thing that I probably learned over the years is patience. And like, there's a time to have patience, and there's time to be like, nah, I'm about to do what I want to do. And I think the older you get, the more you realize that. And I bring that up to say, in these jobs, oftentimes you'll be feeling like, okay, I'm adding value. I've done this, and this. But the problem may be you don't know how to show that value or present that value. And what I mean by that is when it's time for your, let's say, review and you want that promotion, you're walking in and say, I've done this, and this. Well, where's your proof? Do you have that on paper? You know what I mean? How are you really showing that value? You say the stuff you learned, but did you get that certification? And did you present that to say, okay, here's my certification, here's what I learned? And that's one of the things about social media. Sharing what you do actually helps you so everybody see it. And people may say it's bragging, but no, it's not. It's like, I really worked hard, and I want you to realize the hard work that I've done. And if you're going to celebrate me, cool, but I'm celebrating myself. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think that's, and that's one thing we teach in Level of Tech, right, is share your journey, share what you're doing, because it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you.
Yep.
Because some of the opportunities that it's going to come to you is going to be through people who've been watching you for a while that you had no idea. Like when LinkedIn reached out to me and said I was nominated as top 10 LinkedIn top voice in job search and career, I had no idea that they were watching.
Right.
I actually didn't respond to the first email because, it was a scam. What y'all talking about? All right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you just never know just by sharing the connections that you'll be able to make. Yep. Or somebody is watching you like, all right, Broadus, I see you got that Terraform associate certification, so you learning. I'm going to wait for a while to see what you do next because I'm very impressed with you. And if I see you start doing things that really align to the vision on where I'm trying to go with my company, I'm going to reach out to you. And that's how it goes. It's like you said, it's not about bragging. It's all about connecting and all about saying, hey, I'm doing this over here. Anybody who is really working on this too, let me help you as much as I can. Or if you're working on it along with me, we could just do it a study group or whatever. It's just all about connecting and building those relationships, man.
True story. You never know who's watching you on social media. I want people to realize that you may not be getting those likes that you expect. You may not be getting your stuff shared the way you expect, but you really never know who's watching you. And I've learned that over the years. People that I never even thought was watching what I was doing will reach out in a certain situation and I'm having a conversation. I'm like, yo, like your title is like, I'm watching you, like you watching me, you know what I mean? And it's I think you just have to be confident in what you want to do and where you want to go. And regardless of the love that you think you should be getting, the appreciation that you think you should be getting, you got to do it anyway. And that's, in my opinion, a part of being successful is doing the hard things even when you don't want to.
Right. So even when you think no one is watching.
Yep. That's
or even if you don't have no one viewing your videos with no likes or comments, continue to put out those videos because it's going to be a person that says, hey, that video you put out the other day, man, or, lady, whoever, changed my life or gave me the motivation, or you spoke directly to me.
Yep.
And you're gonna be like, what? Like, I didn't even know anybody was watching my joint. And that's what your career should be. Just sharing your journey once again, because you're gonna make those connections through your messaging. You're gonna make those connections through your work. What you're doing right now and where you are, even if you don't like it, it's actually somebody's probably looking at you right now, praying for that same position that you're in.
Yep.
Every day, Lord, bless me to be like Juan. Bless me to be like Broadus. Bless me to be like whoever. And you sitting there taking it for granted, not sharing your journey and motivating. Like that is being a blessing for the blessings that you already have. So for us to be able to be in the industry or in a field within the industry to make top tier money, us sharing our journey and sharing our struggles and sharing our successes is actually being a blessing to somebody who wants to be in a position that we are in, because that's motivating them every day to do that hard work that we've been doing.
Man, it's biblical. It's like the three men in the Bible, and the one dude buried his talents, and you know what I mean, and he didn't get nothing in the end. And I think about that all the time, because I struggle, and I'm not even gonna lie, I struggle with like sharing everything I accomplished, because I know some people will be discouraged by that, and that's not my intent. So I be intentional about sharing the stuff I fail in as well, because like I fail 100,000 times more than the successes I share, because like I try so much and I do so many different things. And what I've learned is that regardless if you are successful, it's the lesson in those journeys and those failures. You know what I mean? You build strength through those failures to get stronger and accomplish those goals that you set out to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how you become successful, right? So through learning, right, as far as, let's take it back to somebody who's trying to learn to get a new position or transition into the industry. How are you going to learn, right? Now, if you look at every failure as opposition instead of opportunity, then you'll never learn what you need to learn. You need to take those failures, learn from it, and even if you fail again at the same thing, learn more. And you have that. That's called experience. You know what I'm saying? That's called exposure. So even if you're brand new to the game and you're in the interview and somebody say, well, John, tell me, how many years have you had experience with Ansible? Well, you can easily switch in and say, well, let me tell you what I've been exposed to. This is the types of scenarios and what I failed at, but this is how I found the solution. This is how I solved the problem. Yeah. If you got many instances of that, that's called experience. Yeah. Because you literally can walk in the door and have those experiences that you experienced on your own and actually experience more than somebody who's been in that role for a year, maybe even 2 years, and they come across that same situation. You've been through that 5 times on your own. You're like, hey, let me help you. Let me show you. They haven't even experienced it at all. Yeah. So that's how you learn, man. I'm glad you brought that up, bro, because a lot of people need to hear that straight up. The failures all the way to success.
Man, you know, when it comes to those experiences, I'm a huge advocate of documentation. Yep. I think people take it for granted, especially when you get in those situations or at work and you solve something that was challenging, and you may close the ticket out, put some documentation in the ticket. But I'm a real advocate of creating documentation for that solution that you implemented, because not only does it give you documentation to fall back on, but it helps your team, and then as well, it's another way to put yourself out there. You know, when you start creating that knowledge base, now you're known for this knowledge base, as well as when people have problems, you don't have to take time and regurgitate the things that you fixed and done. Now you can just say, hey, I made some documentation on that. Here, I'm going to share it out and take this, and you can follow step by step on how to resolve it.
Yep. You put it right in their hands. It's up to them if they do it.
Yep.
And I use that as well, as far as same thing. If you're trying to transition into the industry, or if you're trying to move into another role, and the key thing is, how do I gain experience if nobody hired me to get experience? And how can I show experience? documentation is the way you can show your exposure. So while you're working on those projects, documenting them, and you walk into that interview and you showing them your whole GitHub repository, or even just blogs or notes that you've written and shared in a Google file about certain scenarios that you came across, and they ask you, hey, let's talk about your experience with cloud, specifically, let's say GCP or AWS. And all you got to do is pick out one that you documented and just talk about that experience, talk about the scenario, because documentation actually helps you learn it better.
Yeah.
Actually, now you understand, because sometimes you can run through something and be like, all right, I think I got it. But the documentation actually forces you to understand and be like, oh, okay, so this is what it was going on, and this is why I needed to do this, and blah, blah, blah. So you'll be able to run that off in an interview and talk concisely about your experience within that scenario. And they can see it. And so even if you use it as more of a leverage to yourself anyway. So if you document something and go into an interview and you show them your documentation about your projects, they may even just want to talk about your projects because they're so interested in it.
Right.
So it gives you a more comfortable conversation to have.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm going to go to the chat real quick. I want to shout out Wayman Brown for the super chat. He said, tomorrow I start as a full stack web dev. Congrats, Wayman. I'm training for the MTA cert through a local college, emerging into my career in IT and enthusiastic. Peace, brothers. Much love.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Shout out to some area codes. Lawrence Little out of 205. Wayman out of 716-869-803. 313. Shout out to Gabe out there in the D. Appreciate you, family. DMV. What's your area code out there, Broadus?
I'm 434.
434. 434. If you're in the chat, put it in the chat. We appreciate
you. See who out there? 434, 804, 434. Come on now. We got the 703s and 571s out there.
For sure. Hey, we appreciate all y'all tuning in. Now, when it comes to the cloud, right? Can you kind of break that down, what it is, for those that may not understand the terminology and all of that?
Yeah, so cloud is literally, as you can say, is this virtual infrastructure. So let's say, I know everybody that's probably seen this. Let's say you in your office, let's say you're working in a building and you've seen servers, racks in the closet with the fan on. You're like, what is this? This is literally their network in a closet, keeping it cool for you, right? So with cloud, let's say if you're working in the office and you needed to bring more servers in because you need to scale to more capacity, as far as you got more people that's going to start working, you got more virtual desktops or desktops that you need to bring in. Now you got to order those servers, right? Which could take time for it to come in. You got to put more software on it. You got to enhance the security on it, install everything, which can take weeks, for some cases, even several weeks. Now, if you don't need those servers anymore, then you just spent all that money for it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With cloud, it enables you to scale your capacity for your business need virtually at a lesser cost than having the physical hardware. Think of cloud as just something for your storage, something for your basic computer, for your computing power, for your storage, for your databases, for any type of network that you want to build. But that cloud service provider, whether it's Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, Google, they say, we're going to handle everything for you. The only thing you need to do is design what you want.
Right.
So if you want to create a gaming application, you got this new game that's on fire, you built it, you like, this about to be fire. You can literally say, you know what, I want to host my gaming application myself. And you can literally use a cloud infrastructure to take care of all of the capacity for your gaming application you want. I know that's probably not the best broken down terminology of cloud, but once again, it just helps you for any of your business needs as far as a network that you need to have, and it enables you to scale and build your business need as you need at a lower cost than having physical hardware in your office.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. A lot of people, when they think of the cloud, and this is just for those that may be thinking of starting a business or wanting to, let's say, spin up some servers on the internet, I think a lot of people that are new to it may think of the cloud as enterprise only, but anybody could set up some services in the cloud.
Right. So before I even got in the cloud, I was actually, so I'm an avid sneaker collector. So I collect all types of sneakers. So before I got it, a lot of people don't know this, before I got into the industry, I was actually a sneaker resale company.
Okay.
So I was reselling even to celebrities as well. You know, they was buying sneakers from me. And we were actually using sneaker bots that was developed by developers, that what they do was, let's say you have a Jordan that comes out and it's a limited Jordan, it's a high demand Jordan or whatever. Normally those shoes sell out within a minute, 2 minutes from each other. So but the bots enabled us to add the cart and check out faster than a human could.
Right.
Like I could get 5-6 pair of shoes when you can't even get one. But we were installing these bots on cloud infrastructure. So I was using a personal Microsoft server on AWS that the interface was just like I had a Microsoft or a computer with Windows on it right here in my office. But I was using it in the cloud to download my bot and be able to gain access to sneakers that no one else could.
And y'all messed the game up. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
So look, man. We at the time, I wanted to understand what I call was the science behind this. Like, we build bots, but like, how does it actually work? Like, what did I need to do to be faster and better than other people? Because I was about the bread. Like, I want to be able to have the best shoes out here so people can pay me top dollar. And that's when we discovered cloud. I didn't know. I call AWS Oz. I was like, yo, I use a server on Oz. I just, RDP into it and use a remote desktop, and I just have my bot downloaded there. I keep the server running. It costs me, $50 a month, but I make $1,500 in this release. It's all good for me, But
see, I'm old school. I had a plug at Foot Locker. For real, everywhere in Kansas City, I had a plug. So I just walk in, grab a bag. Everybody standing in line, coming in at 10 o'clock, picking up my shoes. Y'all been out here all night, pick up my shoes and just go home. I ain't need nobody.
That's the best way. I wish I had the plugs like that, but unfortunately, the game got saturated with a lot of people backdooring. Y'all messed the game up. Actually, That's why that's why we had to get bots, because companies were backdooring sneakers. We would wait outside, and people like you would go and get the sneakers we've been out there waiting hours for.
Bruh, back when they started the raffles, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm done. Because my plugs was like, man, like corporate's coming down. They're not letting us. Because after the Galaxies dropped, because I got all the Galaxies and sold them all. I made it. Yeah.
All that. Rookies, all that.
The only Galaxies I kept was the KDs, because I was the KDs, in my opinion, was the dopest next to the what was it? The phones. Next to the phone Galaxies.
Phones grails, yeah.
Yeah, but after that, that's when everything just seemed to change. They were like, yo, we can't do this anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At the time, I didn't know God was grooming me to become a cloud engineer. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know nothing. Man, it's just crazy how, when you look back, how everything was just being pieced together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you just didn't know that you just getting prepared for that.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a huge resale company where I could open my own shop and have that experience. But other plans prevailed, and here we are now.
That's dope. That's dope. I love that story. I love that. I love that. I got a super chat from Master IT. Thank you, family. Y'all go subscribe to Master IT. He puts out a lot of great content, and he specializes in that A+, that Security Plus, all of your needs around those CompTIA certifications. Anyway, do you guys think the pandemic has helped or hurt job seekers looking to break in IT? What you think about that, Broadus?
Yeah, so what we saw at Level Up in Tech, when I started Level Up in Tech in January last year,
okay,
I didn't know, obviously, I was going to be the head of the curve of COVID and how COVID was going to treat other industries and how the cloud industry was going to boom. So we've seen a 300% increase in people just coming over trying to learn something in this industry because they seen the stability in it, right? So with that, the pandemic forced people to work remotely.
Yeah.
And with companies rushing to cloud, those who haven't adopted it yet, they didn't have the capacity of engineers that can be able to manage the cloud once they migrated, or even figuring out an hybrid solution where they didn't have to adopt it fully, but they can literally, have some things running over there to, step over a little bit. But what we saw was in the beginning was a lot of senior engineers that were out of work before the pandemic started applying for junior level roles to get their foot back in the door. So you had a surge of people who were junior developing talent trying to learn, trying to come over and get into an industry because they were in, a waitress, or they were a police officer, or whatever the case may be, and it just wasn't working out. Their industry was obsolete, or their industry was getting more stressful and harder.
Right.
And then you have on the opposite spectrum, senior level talent taking those positions at companies who were scared because they didn't know what the future held. They didn't see the trends. They was trying to adopt cloud and learn more about it through the pandemic. So what they did was hired those senior level engineers at a lower cost. Okay, you're applying for a junior role. You got 6 years of experience. We know you're trying to get your foot back in the door, but we need somebody to hit the ground running right now.
Right.
Because we don't know this. I mean, you got companies out there that still to today don't have the capacity or have the staff that understand cloud. So while they're trying to hire for cloud roles, they got to hire somebody else to come in and interview because they don't have nobody that understands it. So it's getting better now. It's where cloud has exploded so much that now you have roles that are open and companies are looking to merge with developing talent because of you got developing talent coming in that's hungry, humble, and loyal, and they're willing to take a less rate, and they bring in new ideas to the table. Right. And a lot of them are working on their own, or we're coming through boot camps and programs, and have that hands-on experience through documentation and exposure through projects that they can hit the ground running to help them find solutions. So in the beginning, it did hurt, just simply because you've seen the surge, and then you've seen companies not willing to take a chance because they were scared. But now in 2021, where a lot of companies have already made that move, they have to go back and reevaluate to make sure that they didn't make a mistake in jumping too fast because they didn't go through the checklist or process. So now they got to see how they can really save costs going forward from the mistakes that they made. Look at security, a big explosion in security.
Right.
I mean, we had 400 million plus attacks in 2020 itself. And now remote workers will continue to be the target of security attacks, right? So having that huge gap, or the talent gap, I think opens the door for more people who want to get in right now,
right,
be able to, along with startups and even major enterprises.
So what's the barrier to entry for the cloud? When it comes to network engineering, I can tell somebody get a CCNA and you can get an entry-level network engineer role. What are the requirements to get into the cloud for somebody that has no experience?
That depends on the company you go to, right? So, like, when I started, people told me get certified. Get certification, man, AWS, whatever, and you get a job. I ended up getting 3 of them and still couldn't land a role because they was talking about things that I didn't even know, like programming, like infrastructure as code, configuration management. I didn't know none of that, right? So, but I easily found through my journey and through this process here that it depends on the company. So what I mean by that is you might have a company that is a premier partner with AWS or partner with GCP or partner with Azure. And in order to maintain that partnership, they have to have a number of certified staff on hand at all times, right? So you might could come in with a CCP and a CSA, which is Certified Solutions Architect Associate certification in AWS, and be able to get hired. And they say, look, we're going to train you for the rest. We just need certified folks.
Yeah.
On the other hand, that, you know, if they're not willing to, they can say they're going to support you, but if you don't see that support, you don't see that 90-day, 120-day growth pattern and period that you can get hands-on and get ramped up to speed, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're not going to know what the hell you're doing, right? So if you really want to get into the industry and know what you're doing, I think understanding things like infrastructure, you know, whether it's a Windows shop or a Linux, understanding cloud, obviously, but getting the basics down, like networking and learning more about picking up programming language. I say Python, and not using Python as far as like learning it how to build certain projects, just regular projects. Like, you know, I see people doing, and there's nothing wrong with it, but doing like, you know, a calculator and stuff like that. That's cool to learn it basically, but you need to learn how to use Python and AWS. Use it, you know, Bodo 3 client. Use it for automation. You know, understand what it looks like to use it in conjunction with JSON and everything. So, you know, really looking at AWS documentation to help you build that knowledge to just find how to solve problems there, and really picking a infrastructure as code. You know, like even if it's AWS specific or Azure specific, like ARM templates, or GCP specific, like deployment manager, or doing something that's cloud agnostic, like Terraform. Learning things like that and just getting an exposure. Once again, going back with what Juan said about documenting your exposure, getting the exposure and documenting it, so you know what you're doing, you know what you can talk about, and you know what you know, and just go in there and have that cloud experience, get certified if you want to. But I think, you know, for the most part, if you get certified, just understand the certification gets you to call back and the conversation, but it's going to be the skills that get you in the door. I know that was a loaded answer, but it all depends on the company that you want to work for. Because some companies, like, as long as you got your certification, will try to take care of the rest. And some companies want to see you be able to solve problems. So I'll say at least get one certification in that cloud service provider and start learning basic skills that companies want you to learn. Take a look at a junior role in your area, or even remote, and look at the skills that they're asking for. Make a list, learn those skills, find a way to be able to solve problems with each skill that they're asking you for, and I think you'd be all right.
Yeah, I'm about to give y'all some game, so I'm gonna need y'all to do two things. Hit this with a like, and also don't feel free to drop them super chats. We appreciate you. Now, when it comes to looking for jobs, what I tell people that I work with is find 25 jobs in your area, save them all in the text document, right? And then take each one and then break down each job to say, okay, how much is the salary, where it's located, what's the company name, what's the job description, what's the job qualifications and requirements. And then from there, once you have that list of 25 and you know each one, now you can highlight the commonalities in between these jobs. So they're all looking for an AWS certification. Let's say 15 of them are looking for an AWS certification. Then that's what you should focus on, right? Or if they're looking for you to learn Terraform or Ansible, then that's what you need to focus on, because all of these jobs are requiring specific skills. And if you are learning these skills, now you can narrow down your focus, because when it comes to DevOps and the cloud, man, the tooling is just vast as hell. You know what I mean?
So you got to understand the process, and because the tools come with the process, right? So understanding continuous integration, deployment, and delivery. What does that even mean? right? Because you got various tools that can help you build out pipelines like that. But understanding the total process will get you to understand the exact tool. Because if you guys right now, I'm talking about people who are trying to transition and developing talent that's looking to get in.
Yeah.
If you can get into a mindset of this, if you can learn the processes, right? Understand what DevOps even means. What is the methodology? Why do companies use this methodology, and how does it help companies become a capital producer in their market, right? If you can learn this process, the tool's going to come to help you solve problems. So what you need to do, what can help you stand out, is understanding the pros and cons of that technology. So if you're using Terraform, like why would you use Ansible over Puppet or over Chef, right? In this scenario, understand the pros of using Ansible and understand the cons. Because if you can understand the pros and cons of that stack, then you can go into depth when they ask you questions about that.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, finding the commonalities across a lot of companies that you can research. Because I used to get the question, hey, what should I start with, bro? It's like AWS, should I do Microsoft Azure, should I do GCP? What I should, and I always said, this is pre-COVID, it was always look at what companies are asking for in your area. I could tell you AWS, but if Azure has the lion's share of the market in your area, you're doing yourself a disservice learning AWS.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Learn what the market calls for. But now we in remote, still look in your local areas, because we're trying to get back where we're, this COVID thing is behind us. Right. And if we can, you're going to be back at going into the office. A lot of companies still have leases on buildings that they still got to pay for.
Yeah.
So your butt is going back into the office once this thing over with. So look at local companies once again, like Duane said, and make sure you looking at what they're asking for as far as the cloud service provider they're using and the skills that they're asking you to have.
For sure. Yeah, going back into the office, I think will be a thing, because when you look at these buildings, a lot of times it's a write-off for these companies that have these brick and mortars. They get tax breaks in these cities and towns and states, and then as well as the federal side, they get tax breaks by providing so many jobs in a location. So I think we will go back into the office, but we also will work from home a lot as well in tech, because go ahead, bro.
No. I didn't mean to cut you off, man, but I was going to lead into, I was talking, I did a Dell panel interview a couple of days ago where I was talking about how companies are actually benefiting because remote workers are actually producing 40% more at home and working 1.4 more hours a day, which makes it 17 more work days a year. So having you work from home is more beneficial right now for them because they're saving a lot of money.
Let's talk about that. So when the whole thing kicked off back in March, I was waking up at like 5:30, logging on, and logging on probably like 6:30, 7 o'clock at night every day. Because in my role, I supported hospitals, and all these hospitals were standing up multiple networks, expanding and extending their networks for these VPNs. So they needed new concentrators and all of that. And so I was enjoying it. Plus I was coding, trying to meet my iterations for my sprints. But then it got to a point where my mental health took a toll. And so I think although we're all working a lot more, do you think mental health is something that people will be affected from after the pandemic, or are they already kind of suffering from it? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think, that was a big hit to remote workers when the pandemic hit as well, right? Because you had people who had in tech or even outside of tech, but most of all in tech, who were office workers, let's say a downtown upbeat. I'm going to, I work downtown, I go out to eat, every lunchtime. I got after hours, I'm downtown, then I go home. So now they were forced to come and adopt this new thing we call working remote. And not only that, people had to deal with the stress of getting used to working at home with the kids damn near training your kids with the teacher,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Working with other family members and working with your spouses too. So that whole thing where people who are normally early risers go in the office, they stuck in the office at home and you really feel like they can't get any fresh air. I think what can happen or what should happen is the companies that adopt, if you want to continue this remote working situation, if you can adopt that work-life balance or even so for instance, like a level up in tech, I got a licensed clinical social worker that will come in every other month called a mental rebuilding stage, giving you tools, not even just for us and my team, but for the guests in the program, because it's mental.
Yeah.
All this mental. Like if I mean, some people just hit a roadblock and just blow up because they can't do what they normally have done. They can't go out and get that fresh air. They can't go out and stretch their legs. We have to adopt a culture where we're talking more about mental health, getting things in place to help them with tools to tackle some of these things like intrusive thoughts and high anxiety, or even the stress of being in front of a screen, because your brain soaks up all of that, right? So like, let's say if you're at work and you're so used to being in front of the computer, 2 hours go by, you on YouTube or something, you still at the computer.
Yeah.
That's a mental thing.
Yep.
So your brain soaks all that in. You never get a rest. So when you trying to lay down, you can't even go to sleep because you thinking about all that stuff you done today, things you done looked at. So how do we tackle that? You know what I'm saying? I think if we figure out, or if the industry figures out how to create that work-life balance and create that health or the mental wellness with their staff or the community, I think would be a better off industry. But I think right now people are getting hit hard, and even if they go back into the office, I think it's going to be something that the office going to have to deal with eventually, because they're going to see an overwhelming number of people, including executive leadership, faced with the same type of problem, bro.
True story. I'm gonna mention something, but then I want to get your tips on it as well after I mention it. So one of the things that affects my mental health is blue light. So when you talk about LED lights, right?
Right.
Having those in my office, like where I'm at now is in like the basement of my house, there's no windows. And getting good lighting, I need real bright lights. And I bought some LED lights to put in my office. And I had a plant back here that I got from IKEA. I love that plant like crazy. It just made me feel alive, right? Less than a day after getting them LED lights, putting them in my office, my plant died. So I started researching it, right? LED lights, that blue light, drains you. And that's why they like Apple and all these other companies came out with that night shift to switch the blue light off, because your body won't shut down if you're looking at your phone.
Right.
Blue light all night.
We in the bed like this.
Yeah, your body won't shut down. So you should really switch on that night shift. And I even tested it because my baby, she sleeps in the room in her crib with us. So she easy access. Well, when my blue light's on, she wakes up. But if I got the night shift on, she stays asleep. Like, it's really deep. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done as much research on the blue light, but I know about it because I turn mine off on my phone, because I'm an advocate person of on my phone. I got so much to do. I run a business and everything. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And that, it keeps you up, which means your body doesn't get proper rest. Your mind doesn't shut off, right? And if your mind constantly going, it's almost like a record. Eventually, you're going to get that same record played over and over again. The next thing you know, you're going to be like, yo, I just had a mental breakdown, nervous breakdown, man. I got all this anxiety built up. I don't even know where it came from. But the actuality, if you look at the history, it's been 2-3 years in the making.
Yeah, you ain't having a rest.
Yep, of habits that you built, and your brain just adapted and giving you what it thought that you wanted. Yeah. Right? So busy all day, you never turn it off. So your brain's like, well, I guess that's what they want. They want me to turn off. You know, they blue light. Man, that's crazy. That's why I got this therapy light in here. My wife bought me. She must be on game.
She on game. She on game, bro.
That's crazy.
Kind of staying on this subject, what are some tips that you do for your own mental health to stay on point during these times?
Yeah. So number one, you got to take a break, right? No matter how busy you are, no matter how much money you making, money could be calling, right? The money is always there. So if the people, you got to respect your time more than anything, right? So time to yourself. So waking up, meditating, right? Even if it's 120 seconds of meditation, it helps you set your day right, help you stay focused. If you can sit and meditate, and with all this clutter that's going on in your brain, remember I said your brain never shuts off, and because you're constantly looking at your phone, blue light might have it a lot to do with that. But if you could take 120 seconds and meditate and focus on your goals and your vision through all the noise that your brain is making, that's setting you up for the day for your brain to say, okay, well, Broadus is not worried about this noise that I'm making. So he's not reacting to it. So I'm going to stop giving it to him a lot. So now you're not really going through your thoughts all day. You're more at peace, even exercising, right? So exercising is equivalent to meditating because you're taking that time and you're not really thinking about what's going on. You're thinking about what you're doing. And that's called mindfulness.
Yeah.
So practicing mindfulness, really focusing on what you're doing instead of what's going on around you. Because all the thoughts in your head is like, just think of it as clouds. Just because it's cloudy outside, when you go outside, you're going to not go outside today because it's cloudy. Your brains is just, whatever thoughts, negative thoughts that it brings you that give you anxiety is just clouds. There's no need to judge them. And you have to just let it go and focus on what you're doing at the moment. Because what happens is, if you judge your thoughts or if you have anxiety from what you're thinking, or, oh man, I didn't send that report in, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my job when I get to work tomorrow. Your brain is just gonna say, you reacting to this, I'm gonna give you more because I think you like it. Yeah. So if you pay attention to other things, take time to yourself. If you're watching TV with your family, watch TV with your family, right? If you're exercising, exercise. And if you're cooking, cook, because then your brain will start to realize, well, you're not reacting to these things I'm going to give you. So let me give you more pleasant thoughts of what you're doing to help you focus on the activities that you're doing now, because that's what you're reacting to. Do that make sense when I say that?
You make real good sense. When it comes to your thoughts, like your thoughts aren't yours unless you own them. Think about what I'm saying. So the things that come to your head, unless you acknowledge it, unless you you own it, and then you say, oh, this applies to me, or let me keep repeating these thoughts, eventually they fade unless you own it. You know what I mean? And so meditation really gives you that ability to say, okay, even though I have thoughts on my head, they're just there. They exist, but they're not mine unless I own it.
Right. Everyone has that. Mm-hmm. But you're not uniquely in a situation where you're going through something and you're like, I'm the only person in the world that's going through this. No, you literally probably talk to your executive. Like I literally talk to executives, man, and even with imposter syndrome, and I felt it, and I mean, it's an ongoing thing. Everybody feels it, but you just feel like, man, today is the day where they realize I don't know anything, right? And some executives would be like, well, look, man, I come to work every day saying today is the day they're going to fire me because they realize I've been faking the funk all this time. It's just that imposter syndrome, man.
You know, one of the things that I've been really focused on is like letting go of my ego. And I know I'm going to sound like a Buddhist and all this, but we all have a story that we tell ourselves, right? So if you wake up and you study every day and you say, I'm a great network engineer, as soon as something new comes along that you don't know now, that goes against the ego of the story you told yourself, because now it's something you don't know, or you're in a new situation. You told yourself that I can walk in any room and I can be confident, but now it's a room you never been in with some people you never know, and they're talking about some things you have no idea. Now that's going to affect your ego. But if you can remove yourself from the ego, it doesn't matter what happens in life. You just exist. So it doesn't, whether I know it or not, I exist. You get what I'm saying? So it's a different way to approach life. And I say that because in tech, there's been times where like my confidence has really got shook because of me not knowing and feeling like I should know this. Like I've built my ego up, like, man, it don't matter what come up. And then it was like, you know what? It don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't know it, if I do know it, I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep. I mean, that's exactly how what you describe is what everyone goes through, right? And number one thing is, I always say your life is in your words. So whatever you say about yourself is what's going to come.
Yep.
That's what it is, right? But number two, what you describe is the exact scenario of somebody, how they may feel going into an interview. And the tip that you just said, you literally get, if you don't know it, just say you don't know it and say, I could definitely find an answer. Don't remove your ego from it, because if they say something and your confidence is crushed, then your next answers that you give may not be so confident, because you wrapped up in that thought now that you don't have the opportunity because you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let it go, remove the ego, and continue to be confident in things that you can answer to the best of your ability. Those that you can't, obviously, don't try to BS it, because those who are in the field and those who are in the trenches and come out the mud can smell that BS. You say something, even if you talk too much. I'm just a tip for anybody that's interviewing. A lot of people come from a background where they have to talk, right? They have to keep conversation. They have the essential skills of communication and building a relationship. They just have the conversation. When you're in an interview and you're talking, you may think you're crushing it because you're carrying on the conversation and you sounding confident. But what happens is people who are more experienced in that technology can pick out things that you say and then drill you deeper on things that you said. And you like, now you think you got to start talking again to make it sound good. And they say, well, he's talking vague. I know he don't know what he's talking about on this. When be quiet. If they ask you a question, just concisely answer the question. Talk about what you know and be quiet. Let them go on to the next question.
Man, that's a great tip, because you can say too much and lead yourself down a rabbit hole you can't get out of.
Yo, we don't want to go down the rabbit holes, especially with somebody who want to take you down there.
Yeah.
You know, because you got to think, some of these tech leads and people that interview you, they want to take you down the rabbit hole. Talk about what you know. Talk about the pros and cons of what you know. If you can go into depth in this technology, stay over that. If they ask you about other things and you don't know, say you don't know. Save yourself right now. But make sure you reiterate that you can find the answer, and this is how you're able to solve. Even have a process of how you solve problems. Well, I don't know that. I haven't had experience with that. Or let's say they ask you about something as simple as CloudFormation. You're like, well, I've never used CloudFormation, but I have used Terraform. So this is where I see the similarities, and this is where I see the differences. Yep. And this is the pros and cons of Terraform, of what I've used and seen so far and what I've been exposed to. That's a great answer, because they're like, well, he told me he didn't know CloudFormation, but he actually gave me an example for another tool that he used that's similar. So that's the tip.
I've been in some interviews where I've been down that rabbit hole, and I walk out of the interview embarrassed, right? But they made me stronger. They made me go back and learn that technology. They made me realize that if this ever happens again, I'm gonna be prepared, and I'm never going to be in that situation again. You know what I mean?
Yep. And some people don't learn from that though, bro. Like, some people don't take notes. Some people don't come out the interview and say, you know what, they asked me this and that. Maybe I could. You know what? Forget that. What you can do to better yourself after coming out of the interview, if things that they ask you that you don't know, first is read.
Yeah.
We don't like to read at all. I'm talking about everybody. Even in tech, you get an error in the command line. You too busy trying to highlight that error and paste it in Google and look and try to figure out somebody else done seen the error, when all you had to do is probably read the error and it literally told you what was wrong. And you're like, damn, it just told me what happened. All I had to do was read. We don't like to read, man.
If you're going to be in software development, DevOps, coding, anything that's related to tracebacks in Python or anything like that, in libraries and modules, you need to learn to read. Like, you need to have the patience to not just download code and run it or copy and paste code, but you need to really read Stack Overflow. You really need to read these Python libraries. You need to really read the documentation on Ansible and Terraform, because you can save yourself a lot of time, and also it makes you better. It gives you that deeper level of understanding when you're writing your code, because copying and pasting doesn't improve your ability to solve problems or to execute code. It just gives you the ability to copy and paste. But if you are trying to figure out the why,
right,
that's what's going to make you stand out, in my opinion.
Nah, that opinion is absolutely, I think it's fact, because, you got to understand the why, understand what you're actually doing to understand the what, right? So even with Stack Overflow, they're going to give you the answer, but most of the time they explain why.
Yep.
So if you just look for the answer, you're going to miss the why. And that's experience. That's expertise.
Yeah.
Even taking the time to read an article. I tell people this all the time. Take the time to read at least one article a day that's pertaining to cloud trends, what's going on in 2021, digital transformation, how companies are trying to solve problems by migrating over to cloud, because then you're going to be able to see what problems our companies foresee right now. And if you understand that, it helps you stay ahead of the trends, and it helps you be a better asset to the company you're working for, or even a new role. If you can research that company, and because you've been reading and understanding the cloud trends of this year, you can literally see where this company is going.
Yeah.
And better prepare yourself for the interview and talk about how you can help them get to where they're going and fulfill their vision.
Yeah. You can make your job real easy by just setting up Google Alerts for those trends that you want to follow. You know what I mean? They just email you, and every night before you go to bed or wake up, the alerts is right there.
Slack channel. Let it just, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go in there, just look at what AWS is, what of the few thousand services they dropped today, or what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Just stay up with what's going on. So, because that's going to put you in a position to have the advantage of understanding things, maybe even your boss, or maybe even that hiring manager that's interviewed you may not even know about.
Right.
So that's value.
For sure. I got a super chat from my guy, Aaron Mastermind. He does DevOps boot camps on Twitch live. He's I admire him and you. Y'all both are doing your own thing. Y'all both are inspiring others, as well as Master IT. You three are doing big things. Salute to each of you. But Aaron, he says, dope to see you dudes who inspire me together in the same stream. Like you said, you never know who's watching and what your words, content can inspire. Thanks, big bros. Now for my question, tabs. He says tabs or spaces.
He said tabs or spaces.
Yeah, he's talking about when you code in like Python or something, right. You use tabs or spaces.
So I don't code a lot.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's me. I'm not a programmer off the rip.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about that. Being in the cloud, do you need to know how to code?
Yes and no, right? It depends. Once again, that depends on the company. Depends on, like, for instance, we had in December and January, we had a few people, I think it was like 5 people to get hired, and none of them had to have programming experience.
Nice.
Even though we touch on programming in the program, but that companies didn't require it. Now, we had some people earlier go through interviews in a junior role where that company was literally like, you have to have strong Python experience. Like, and you look at it like, well, it's not really a junior role if you really asking for that strong of experience and programming. But I think it literally just depends on the company, man. Some companies, if you have infrastructure as code experience, Terraform, and you can use Ansible, and you understand how to create pipelines, right now, that's what they want you to hit the ground running doing. Right? A little bit of security, understanding AWS organizations, all of that good stuff, and you can deploy IAM policies and users through infrastructure as code. That's what they want. But some companies, they want you to have that strong programming experience because, you know, they may want to be able to use, manipulate data. You know, they're very strong on data with, they want to create solutions that can stay on top of what their customers already want before they know they want it. So they may want somebody to hit the ground running like that. So,
Right.
I mean, I think it just depends on the job, the role, and the company and their vision.
Here's a question, and it's specifically for you. First thing I want to say is we have Broadus Palmer on. For those of you just tuning in, he's a major influence to helping people get into the cloud. He's a LinkedIn top voice. He's the founder of Level Up in Tech, and he's really been putting out some great content around the cloud and just encouraging people to believe that they can be successful in IT. Can you kind of talk about what Level Up in Tech is, and for those that may be interested, and let them know how they can find you and what your business model is about?
Yeah, so our mission is to help individuals in the community transition and advance their career in cloud. And we do this by providing a specific learning path that help them understand and gain the experience to solve problems as an engineer, right? So what does that mean, and who is this for? We really literally work with people that want to work in AWS right now, specifically as a cloud engineer, DevOps engineer. We're going more towards cloud security as well. So it's half and half of people that 50% people come from outside of the industry with no technical background, and people that's coming into the industry are already in the industry coming into learning more cloud, never touched cloud, heard of it, but, you know, may touch cloud on a certification base, but really having a hands-on experience, understanding what it takes to be a cloud engineer, they don't have that. So when I got into the industry, I started getting people just really hitting me up like, man, like, yo, can you help me get in the cloud? I'm really looking for a cloud role. And this was people that's like network engineers,
Right,
tech support. I'm like, bro, like, you've been a network engineer for 10 years. What can I do for you?
Yeah.
I don't even know, bro. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Like, I can't do nothing.
Right.
But looking back and researching, when it came to cloud, they were new. They were new to the cloud. Even if they didn't take the DevNet route where, you know, they was programming or using automation or anything, right? They were new to understanding what it took to be a cloud engineer, a DevOps engineer, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
So I looked at it, I was like, all right, well, people coming outside of the industry are definitely less technical. Somebody in this industry may have a little more technical acumen if they're, you know, tech support or help desk, whatever the case may be. But when it came to cloud, they started from scratch the same.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might even have a person that's been in a role in tech for 7 years, and they did the last 6 years of year 2 or year 1. What I mean is, for the year 1 when they got onboarded, they learned, but after that, in the last 6 years, they didn't learn anything new.
Right.
So I was like, well, what if I can help people transition and put themselves in a possible situation where they can land a role, or even create an ecosystem of partners that can give them opportunities and apprenticeships and internships, and they won't have to bump their head like I did, right, and they can do it in a quicker time frame. And that's when Level Up in Tech was born, man. And, you know, from then on, we just started working with people from everywhere. Like, we have guests in India, Saudi Arabia, Germany, UK, Canada, you name it. It's just an international problem where, well, not a problem, an international skills gap where people see this industry booming and they want part of it.
Yeah.
They feel like we can build a legacy in this industry. And who am I to say I'm not going to help you because somebody helped me? You know what I mean? I had to go back and really bust my butt and go through. Sometimes you go through some tremendous mental situations when you're trying to learn, and your own self is against you.
Yep.
Right? You're against your own self and your thoughts. So having that particular plan and process in place for success is already built. The only thing you need to do is be consistent in doing the work, because I can't make you do the work. I could take you to the water Well, I can't make you drink it. You gotta want to be thirsty enough to drink this water that we're gonna give you, and say, I'm gonna use this water to quench myself and go change my life. And that's what Level Up in Tech is all about. We really, in the last, from January 1st to now, we had an influx of 28 students,
Nice.
28 guests, excuse me, that's coming in. And we're really just trying to create a picture of building with anybody who's on the same path with us of helping people change their lives. That's why I admire what Aaron is doing. I admire what Dwayne Roberts is doing, because, you know, they are people not only just like us in the industry, but they're people that look like me and you, who are really understanding for people that look like us in the communities that we come from. We know about tech, but understanding the life-changing opportunities that tech can give us, like some people just think that's snake oil. Some people think that's like not even, that's impossible for you to do.
Right.
So we're trying to show people that it's possible. For those who just want to know more, you could definitely reach out to me personally on LinkedIn at Broadus Palmer. It's linkedin.com/in/level up with Broadus. You can go to levelupintech.com, download our PDF for our Junior DevOps Foundational program, and you can fill out the contact form if you guys want to be interested or want to learn more about the cohorts that we have. We have an application you fill out, and we definitely get on the phone and talk to you and learn more about your goals, learn more about if you're the right fit. Because, I mean, you may want to get in the cloud, but you may not want to do DevOps or, cloud engineering, right? You may want to go to machine learning. You may want to do the networking route, whatever the case may be. So even if you're not a right fit, we still do our best to put you and include you in our community, to give you the right steps that you need to take, or point you in the right direction, connect you with the right people. So yeah, that's what it's all about, man. And I just wanted to embody my journey and put it into something that can help other people. And so far, we've been building people that's on fire. Like the coaches that we hire actually come out the program. So like, you come into the program, you're actually going to be coached by somebody who went through the program and understands the process and understands the curriculum, and working in a role that can give you the real version of what you're going to be facing out there. So yeah, man, I just appreciate you letting me talk about this on your platform, bro.
Oh,
Seriously.
man, I want to see you win, bro. All of your contact information is in the description of this video, so y'all make sure, at the very least, y'all go support Broadus. And if you're interested in the cloud, go sign up, because he's going to help you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
All right, so here's a question. For someone that I would say has cloud experience, what does the landscape look like for that person to be able to start their own business? In other words, are there entrepreneurial opportunities for IT professionals in the cloud space?
Yeah, I mean, right now, so COVID pushed some people at the time to be creative as possible, right? Some people lost their jobs in this industry, so they had to, out of necessity, build a business that worked because they couldn't find a job elsewhere. So with this industry exploding now and what 2021 has to offer, if you want to build a business, it's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't. And I'm going to tell you, you have so many resources that you don't even know. Number one, you got Clubhouse, where you can literally find any type of room in Clubhouse to help you get the knowledge to build your business. And you can ask questions to people who build their businesses 6, 7, 8, 9 figures and get the information, insider information of what they've done to be able to build their business. EduTech space is booming. Consulting space is booming. Companies out here right now don't have the knowledge to do what, or to transform it to something that they want to transform into, right? They need help migrating over to cloud. Once they migrate over to cloud and somebody hands over the keys, who gonna maintain it? They don't have the capacity to do that. So you could build a business with experts and developing talent that could be able to maintain their applications and infrastructure and whatever cloud service provider that they choose, and get money. Do you understand? Let me give you the secret out here. Do you understand as a consultant, and most of you do if you're a consultant, if you're working for another company, how much that company charges for you?
Yep.
So if you're making $70 an hour, which is great money, my ad, a company might be charging minimum $275 for you an hour. So they're making $205 an hour. So as a consultant, building your business where now you're making $70 an hour, where you can literally make $275 an hour just for you, and then you can hire other people, giving them life-changing opportunities and building companies and making money for helping them solve solutions. This is the time to do it, period. Find you a business coach, invest in yourself, take somebody who's already proven success, right? Who's doing what you want to do is business-wise, and invest in them to teach you how to build your business to get to where you want to go. That's all I would say. I mean, I definitely think it's a time to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I did a video with Smart Money Bro. What was it? Last Wednesday on my YouTube channel, and we talked about government contracts and starting business, a business and all that. For those of you that may be interested in that, I would highly recommend Eric Bowie. Man, there's so many opportunities, not just in the private sector space, but in the government contract space. I think he mentioned over it had to be $400 million worth of money that is allocated for minority small business. So
yeah, for the government, and that's probably just in one state. So that's probably in Maryland or DC or Virginia just itself.
This ain't even states. This is federal. We're not even talking state level
and
city level.
It's allocated if you're a business in that state.
Yeah,
they have allocated funds for you. Like if you're a minority business in Virginia, then they're allocating $400 million federal money for you to give you contracts if you're a business out of that state.
Right, but then they also have state level funds and local level funds. Like if you want to start a business right now, when I was doing my small business, I got a couple government contracts. The amount of bids that go unfilled and the amount of bids that are out there is just ridiculous. I know a guy that I think he supplied napkins for the city of Kansas City, and he was making millions just by supplying napkins. I know another guy that was doing popcorn at government events, and he was making crazy money. The amount of opportunity that's out here that people, let's just say untapped in, because people just don't know. You know what I mean?
I mean, when you said about the millions of dollars allocated for minorities, right? That means it's a chance that you would get a contract just because you're a minority. You know what I'm saying? Just that you would get that contract just because, and I hate to say it like this, but just because you're black, they got that money allocated for you. So if you got a minority-owned business, you have an opportunity to get that contract just because.
Yeah, you have an opportunity like that. But just to kind of clarify, if you watch the video with Eric Bowie, one of the things he talked about was that when we think of minority-owned businesses, a lot of times we'll think it's because it's black. But there's actually no certification for a black-owned business when it comes to owning a business. And I didn't even know that until he broke it down, because he's he's very high when it comes to government contracting, but there's no actual certification for black-owned business. There's women-owned business. There's other types of certification, veteran-owned businesses, all these other certification, but not one specifically for black-owned business. And I didn't even know that.
Wow, that's crazy. So we wonder how can we change that? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think the way he broke it down was there is a minority certification, but it encompasses multiple demographics, not just black people. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a time right now. As Aaron, right? Aaron just made the jump. Aaron was like, yo, I'm out. I got to do this on my own.
Yep.
I got to build a legacy. Yeah, it's the time to build a business, man. And, even if you have to stay on, let's say if you have the idea of be an entrepreneur. You just don't know what problems to solve. Work hard in your role and just kind of see what problems they're solving right now and where you can bring value in your own business that'll make you stand out.
Yep.
And once again, invest in a business coach. Don't go out here trying to build a business and you don't know what you're doing. Find, some people or even people that help you just give you game to understand the steps that you need to take to build that business. And then, learn from your mistakes. The failures that you have, just say, okay, what can I do to make that better? The more valuable that you make yourself, the more checks that's going to come to you.
Yeah.
You might even find yourself getting speaking engagements just off a business that you're trying to build. And you might, somebody want to pay you $20,000 to speak on area that you cover in your business. That's extra money just because you built yourself to be valuable.
Yep.
So I always, if you got that idea, if you got the dream in your heart, God gave you the tools and resources to be successful, period.
Man, true story. And that's something that when I was talking about owning the idea, I was going to bring this up. When I mentioned that your ideas aren't yours, I think when you have an idea to do something, like you should act on it, even if it's writing it down. Like you should not just let that idea be a thought. And the reason why I say that is because that feeling that you have when you have an idea and you don't act on it and then you see it come to fruition, like God's going to bring that idea to fruition. And if he gives it to you, he expects you to act on it. And if you don't, you can't be mad when somebody else does because the idea was never yours in the first place because you didn't own it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. And that's all about, that's what success is all about too, right? Having an idea where you got the idea, but how fast can you put something together to create a product, right? Because analysis paralysis can help you fail. So if you think it too much time, no, I got to tweak this. It's cool to do research about the product if you don't know nothing about it.
Right.
But put something together and test it, put it out there, tweak it. Right? I think we have an analogy where we encourage people to sell products before they even have it built. Right. So, and people say that's unethical, but when you have a beta product that you're selling before you have it built, and then you use the people that you building it with to crank out the holes and everything that you have in your business, you letting them know this is a beta phase. They know you give it to them as a discount. They know it's a testing product. So you're really working out the kinks now for the next people that come that pay you full freight to have a better product than ever.
Yeah.
What's worse? You doing this or you creating a whole program and taking full freight and then have a product that doesn't work and you done took everybody money and they looking at you like, yo, this product is crap.
Right.
So, definitely you got that idea, like you said, put it down, take action. Because trust me, somebody else God gave it to somebody else too.
Yep.
And you see them like, yeah, I just started this. You like, oh my God, you can't be mad. That's the game.
Yeah, and
you had the idea, you didn't act.
Yeah, and you can still act on it. You know what I mean? I think there's enough opportunity out here for everybody to win. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So.
Yep, I believe.
Yeah. Yo, this has been dope. I hope y'all found this informal and helpful. Broadus, I thank you for your time, family.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, bro. Seriously, man. It's much love, bro.
Yeah. Hey, you got time to answer a few questions from the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. If you all have questions for Broadus, please drop them in the chat, and I'm going to go back up here and see if I can find some. And if you got the chat pulled up and you see something to stand out, bro, go ahead and grab it.
Well, I'm not even looking at the stream. I'm looking at you.
I appreciate it, man. I got your 100% attention. Look, y'all, we out here blessed today. That's what's up. All right, let me see. You mentioned Clubhouse. You use Clubhouse?
Yeah, I do.
You want to kind of talk about it for those that may not know what it is?
Yeah, the way I could put Clubhouse is it's a app that's Audible only and it's invitation only for iOS users right now. It's literally an app. Let's think of an app with any podcast that you can actually think about. that you can be able to go in, raise your hand, and ask questions to the people that's doing the podcast. So it may be 18 people on stage talking, it can literally be how to break into tech. It can be how to build a 8-figure business. It could be, and it literally, when you have 8-figure businesses, it'll be people in there that's literally built their business to 8 figures. You can literally check their track record, and they're in there giving you tips on what they've done. You got people, you got prayer groups, you got everything that you can actually think of that pertains to your interests. And you can literally start the room if you don't find anything and create that community and create people coming in to talk with you that may have that like-mindedness. But you can literally go in there, and if you want to build a business, be an entrepreneur, or learn how to bake with some secret recipes they're talking about, or how to build a community on LinkedIn, or how to even just optimize your social media to attract more opportunities. You can go in there and listen to the players that's doing it, raise your hand, they'll bring you to the stage. You can literally ask a question and they'll give you game. And you can just continue to, it's 24/7 because obviously it's international. So you might have some people in UK that's, at midnight, they up at 6 o'clock in the morning, having a 6 o'clock in the morning powwow.
Right.
So it's just an awesome app that, once again, though, you have to be careful and make sure you dedicate your time for yourself, because it can easily slip into that time that you're trying to keep for yourself,
right,
and create new anxiety because your brain doesn't shut off. Now the time that you dedicated yourself, that peaceful time that you're supposed to be, getting away from anxiety, you're using that with it. It's easily addicted. Like, you'll be addicted to it quickly. So
here's a question, man. And I forget who posted it on Twitter, but is there a lot of black people on Twitter? On Clubhouse?
Yeah, so we found that like the Clubhouse was like almost kind of like and we found owners that weren't black, but we was like, is this a black owned app? Because at one point it was just so many black people coming on that we just like, we see this like marketed, or not marketed, but it's just great number of black people migrating to this app and having great conversations.
Right.
But it's a lot of black people on that joint.
But bro,
it's great though.
It's great. But the reason why I bring that up is, as black people, man, like I want to put this the right way. I don't want to put this the wrong way. But as black people,
my masterpiece situation.
Yes, that's where I'm going. As black people, we need to create these resources for our own, because they're capitalizing off of us.
Right.
It's worth over $1 billion, and it ain't even like a full developed app yet.
Right. Not even yet. And that shows the power of our culture. That shows the power of our influence. And once they start charging, because they will monetize off of this, it's going to show the power of our dollar too. Right. So I definitely get you, man. We should definitely start having these conversations and building stuff once again, because this is tech related too. So we'll open up more tech jobs. And once again, I'm an advocate of showing people how we can be successful in tech too, because we're underrepresented in this industry as well. So, I feel you, bro. Trust me. I definitely feel you.
I'm gonna leave it alone. We'll talk offline about it. But yeah, I think when it comes to like our time, we have to value our time and make sure that we're putting it in places to where we'll be successful. So like you mentioned, when it comes to using these apps, make sure that if you're using Clubhouse, that you are using it in a way that's going to benefit your growth and not a way that's going to distract you from where you want to go.
Yes. So, bro, you hit it on the head. Don't use it for distractions and noise. Use it for development, regardless of who you are. Use it for development. If you're on there, like me, I'm run my own business. I'm always looking to connect with people who are doing way better than me to learn and be a student of the game. But if I'm just on there, just kind of going in random rooms and just listening to random stuff that's not helping me grow, that's no different than looking at your phone all night on Facebook videos and then you can't go to sleep. You're going to do the same thing on, at least if you're going to take some time to dedicate to Clubhouse outside of your personal time, at least make it for growth.
Man.
Period.
I don't have any social media apps on my phone. None.
Wow.
Like when you, you hit me on LinkedIn, and I'm like, dang, I need to install LinkedIn because I was out and I couldn't reply because it wasn't installed on my phone. Like seriously, bro, like I'm not focused right now. But I had to install LinkedIn in order to reply for you. Then I deleted it, and you replied again and it emailed me again. I'm like,
Yo, I wish I could be that disciplined. You know what I'm saying? But the community that we built, and then the person that I just happened to become over the couple 3 years on that platform, it's just I get so many people hit me up all the time, man. And you know, I just feel right now I need to be available to move out my mission as God put me to do it. You know what I mean? So, but I wish I could turn that off, man, because sometimes social media, that's the problem with mental health right now. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah man.
Hey, man, that's one of the reasons I haven't set out to do a lot of the things that people think I should do, is because I got a different journey and I know where I want to go. And there's people out here that are putting out information like yourself, like Aaron, like so many other people that have platforms and are putting out information that if I can just one Sunday a week bring you all on, then I'm doing my job, you know, because I'm helping point people in a direction that's going to help them go where they want to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope. And in turn, you're building an incredible community that's looking to you for answers that you just sharing your community with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's super dope, bro. Seriously.
For sure. We got a question from Eric Johnson. He said, for those in their specific dream role and have been in IT for a while, at what point would you consider yourself a success?
I think, you know, once you're doing what you want to do, like if you have a goal, and when you said you in your dream role, so obviously that was a goal.
Yep.
That's success. You worked hard to obtain that, right? I mean, that's no different than somebody who going to the NBA, right? I mean, that's the dream role for somebody who want to play basketball. If I'm picking up a mic and I'm rapping, my dream role is to be a famous rapper where I'm getting paid the money I want for my talents. So if you're in a dream role, and when I say dream role, I guess I'm looking at a role that you absolutely love. You're getting paid the money you want for your talents, and you have the flexibility to not be stressed out about it because it's something you love. That is absolute success, regardless of how much you're getting paid for it, because you're doing at that time what God told you to do. You have absolute bliss in your life. So, I mean, I think it's always important to continue to grow, because that dream role can easily turn into stress if you're not continuing to grow with the trends and understand how you can continue to solve problems in that role. But I think for the most part, if that's where you are, the only thing you can do is teach other people how to do that too.
Yeah, that's a good point, bro. And I think the fact that you're in your dream role, you actually have to, and I've had this problem in my life where I struggle with celebrating myself. And so if you're in a position to where you wanted to be here, this is your dream role, like celebrate that. Embrace the fact that you've made it there and not be looking at like what's next, because it's easy to accomplish something you worked hard for and then have that feeling as, okay, what do I do next, and not actually enjoy the moment that you're in. You know what I mean?
You'll never have enough if you keep doing that.
Yep.
You know, just like somebody be like, I'm out here chasing this bread. Like, let's get it clear, very clear. Those who have jobs, we don't come to work for free, right? Those who have businesses, we want to get the biggest check possible. But to have a goal of you just chasing bread, you're chasing money, you want to make money all the time, it would never be enough. So when you have that goal, I'm gonna get $1 million, you get $1 million, now you want 10. You get 10, now you want 100. It would never be enough if you don't stop and celebrate and enjoy the journey. Just like that road. Oh, I want to be, engineer first. Okay, now I want to be an architect. Okay, now I want to, go to school, get bachelor's or master's, whatever. I want to be a C-suite level executive. Like, it would just never be enough because you haven't taken time to even enjoy what you've obtained because you're always on the chase. You didn't even get time to eat the food or even taste the food that you would eat.
Man, chasing ain't never a good look.
Right. Yeah, for
Chasing
sure.
ain't never a good look. Yeah, yeah, that could be a whole different thing. I want to say thank you to everybody that's tuned in. Shout out to the moderators for putting in the work and holding down the chat. We really appreciate each of you. And I really thank you, Broadus, for taking time out your day and to not only share your knowledge, but to inspire others to be able to believe that they can be in tech. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me here, man. So it's an honor. Seriously. When I was coming up in the game and still coming up, I was watching you, believe it or not, Dwayne, watching Aaron, watching a lot of players out here just working. And, I was like, I want to do that too. You know what I mean? Once again, y'all people that look like me, from the culture that I'm from. And I seen the success that everyone was having with their careers. And it just inspired me to do the same for myself.
Salute, bro. Salute. Hey, you want to take us out?
Yeah. So I would say, look, whatever you're doing right now to try to move into that next role and to level up in tech, understand it don't matter what program you go through. It don't matter what mentors you have. It doesn't matter what networks that you built for yourself. If you don't come and do the work, it's not going to happen for you. So continue to level up in tech and continue to search out the information at your fingertips because it's right in your back pocket, anything you need to know. So continue to grind hard, continue to stay consistent in your learning. And I guarantee you'll get to the place that you want to go to. So I definitely appreciate y'all.
All day. And with that, we thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
I'll let y'all.